I got a few poems for you, and the first one is about my infinite social graces. So, a horse is like. My closest friend told me that her horse had just died, and my head said that's like a cat in a car, right? Like an expensive family member you can ride. Except that you keep your horse in the stable. Well, you kept your horse in the stable. Except cars can't get colic. They're stable that way. Except yours just passed. Your horse, not your car. And you'll roll your eyes if I called it an it. Except even people can be its sometimes. Babies are its. But if you had a baby, you'd be mad if I called it an it. There's probably, at least in the way that you see me, something wrong with me. You see, me, I keep equivocating foreign objects, finding all that is unobtainable and relatable, so I relate unreliably. Reliably logical, I'm a dispassionate alien. All my beliefs, like a defenestrated starfish, make a wish as I accelerate earthward. I love her for what she represents. The horse girl with the dead horse. She represents the part of me that could only be willed into existence with concerted effort. Speaking to me as if I understand how to be anything more than a constellation in your universe. A statue in your banquet hall of some utilitarian aesthetic to impress the guests who just don't get it. I'd wear coveralls to the Met Gala and you'd write the museum label, the cardboard plaque they'd hang by my body in the sorts of exhibits I used to sneak into. Your horses, like babies, are its, because they cannot be real. Not by the logic of my life, the trajectory, the absence, deprived of meaning by a lack of means. I appear mean only to complement the world in which I live. I lie, only in exhaustion. I become the foreign object to mean it any other way would deny my eyes as newborn, stillborn in your stable. It means nothing to me. It is all I know. Still, you hold on to hope that others can see the part of me that is more than my previously horseless eternity. You took the time to show it to me. You brought me to horses. Or you had me drive you to the stable because watching you merge onto the highway was an exercise in instability. You had me sit patiently as you ran laps of horse ballet, which is foreign object equivocation as far as I know it. You'd shown it to me, so we both engaged in equine equivocation. So we're both constellations at the same time, singing pilgrim prayers to the defenestrated starfish in the sky, orbiting earthward for as long as it'd take for us to realize one another. My best friend had just told me that her horse had died, and some part of me knew what she meant. I got two more for you. The next one's a little weird. I was reading this book, and in this book, this woman prays to the old gods after dark, asking to be set free of some obligations. And I was thinking, if I had one wish, what would it be? So, my one wish, I am made bread. I asked for strength, and I was made into dough. The need to be needed arose, pilgrims' palms clasped past dusk. I asked the old gods to make use of me. They turned me into bread that I might not find shame when I crumble. There's no egg-wash baptism. Our redemption is in how we manifest our intention. We fled unleavened, and even when we fell, we're sidewalk, parkside platter, still able to feed duckbills and their grateful squawking goose-like laughter. In time, all be made from one into many, from baguette into croutons, serviceably stable and put on a salad that I might be made healthy by association, that I might find belonging in a bed of lettuce. See me and partake of my newfound garden. If you were weary, let that bed of harvest foliage give you somewhere to lie. And while lying, let us be made useful and we might make more bread. I am become bread. So use me until you are full. Fed of me until I am nothing but digestion to energy. Made ATP. Synergistically made heat, sunk into the universe, dissipated, free of anticipation, expectation, disappointment, conditions of living by which I am no longer bound. I am made ethereal, I am made useful, I am made nothing, I am made bread. Last one, promise. You don't have to deal with this for too much longer. Okay, so it was just Patrick's birthday, and my birthday we're like birthday twins almost. So mine's coming up pretty soon, and I have a tradition. I'm going to tell you about this tradition, and this poem I have, Middle Distance. And really, it's a tribute to Emil Zatopek. If you don't know who Emil Zatopek is, don't worry, I'll tell you. He was a long-distance runner who did not compete in the mile. And this is through the lens of Rudyard Kipling's 1943 poem, If, which, if it were to be equivocated to recount a foot race, would refer to a quarter mile at most. So there's some senselessness in this, but let's go for it. When Kipling asks his reader if they're willing to meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, he must have been referring to Emil Zatopek. Emil Zatopek, the gold-gilded Olympian, found in a sweatshop, forcibly commandeered by Nazis and retired to the hard labor of a drill company following Russia's repression of Czechoslovakia's Prague Spring, he ran with his head lolling, barely connected to his shoulders. He ran with his arms flailing as if wrestling an octopus. Zatopek would say, I am not talented enough to run and smile at the same time. His face a grimace as if the cinders on the track were meant to burn like coals. He was a distance runner, winning the 5K, 10K, and his first marathon all at once in Helsinki, with miles more to his credit. If anyone knew, it was him. The mile is not a celebration. The mile is run because it is hard. It is digging your way out of a hole with your fingertips, cuticles peeling and bloody and raw. Have you tried this? I have, and a saner man would simply buy a shovel, or gloves at least. The mile is run because there's time to stop and you don't. You're a rabbit caught in a snare, and if you flail without a mind, you'll die of exhaustion, but you must flail for your freedom. That's how it's run if you want to survive. You have to die a little. And you die a little every single day. But if you can fill 60 seconds worth of distance run and keep going more than several times over, no one can subject you to the pain you're capable of inflicting upon yourself and enduring. If you can run a mile with all available speed and will, staring disaster in the face for 1,600 meters of octopus wrestling, you can survive the pain of living another year. So every year on my birthday, I run a mile as fast as I can. This is not an if situation. Kipling is not standing at the end of the track, stopwatch in hand, asking me to fill 60 seconds worth of distance run and then on several times over. He is not waiting at the finish line to pat me on my back and say, "You'll be a man, my son." Zatopek was the world's beloved until he was no longer useful. He was ostracized at old age, stripped of his uniform, only able to find work at a drilling company under the watch of a government minder. In the workers' camp nearing the end of his life, Zatopek received a gift of meat from a local boy, and when asked if he was the famed Olympian, he replied, "I am not the Zatopek you once knew." Zatopek has taught me that we die a little each year, but on my feet at 1,600 meters per annum, I'll give a little death before the world grows tired of waiting and takes its own toll. I'm not talented enough to live and smile at the same time, but it's nearly my birthday and octopus is on the menu.